do a deep dive into the USMT order numbers. The press release came out earlier in the week. But before we start that, I thought I'd do a little homage to the holiday today. First of all, do a little one person from each service. Here, representing the Army from our own Strategic Analytics Department, Mark Perala. As you can see, you can guess what conflict he was involved in. And then Tim Chabara from the Navy. Tim is our Chief Technology Officer at AMT and heads up our data analytics and program, as well as being right now a resident fellow on Capitol Hill for Senator Rubio's office. Next, from the Marines, my Uncle Benny. He's here visiting, in this picture, visiting Washington, D.C., seeing the World War II memorial shortly after it was dedicated with a bunch of his Marine friends from Oklahoma and northern Texas. And then finally, with the Air Force, my own father, here he's doing MP duty on a troop ship that was taking him and a group of other electronic geeks that were working on jets, avionics, and radios and radar to the Korean conflict. So happy Veterans Day. Now, let's get back to the meat of the program. USMT orders came out on Monday afternoon. The September numbers were $298 million, which is a really good number, to be honest with you, in this pandemic. Now, it's down 12% from where we were in August, but August was fantastic. Had a couple of huge orders in August that made it almost level with where it was in August of 2019. I think August was $336 million less. Year-to-date numbers, we're at $2.7 billion for the first 10 months of the year, and that's down 22% from the first 9 months of 2019. Sorry, first 9 months of 2019. Now, 22%. That's actually a pretty nice improvement over where we were in August. Through the first 8 months of 2020, we were down 24% from the first 8 months of 2019. So we've made up 2 points, heading back towards zero. We got to get to zero before we can start growing back towards our 2019 levels that weren't all that bad considering where we are today. Based on the early returns from October, it looks like we'll actually knock off a couple more digits or numbers off that 22% and be closer to 20. But last week, MT Forecast Conference, there were some interesting presentations, and almost every one of the economic analysts that cover our industry were rolling back their forecast, negative forecast from where it was in May or July, and the range went from a negative 19 down for 20 for manufacturing technology orders to a negative 31. And that range is considerably down from where it was when it was between 50% down to 45% down, just as much as early as June of this last year, this current year. So we're making progress. We got to get less worse before we can get better. Now, as we look around at the different regions in the USMTO program, North, Central, East had a fantastic month in August, and the North, Central, West returned the favor in September. It was up 56% from where it was in August. The South Central, which has been dragging bottom, it's heavily dependent upon the oil and gas exploration business. It actually had in September a 45% pickup, and none of it was, well, not none of it, but it was not based upon oil and gas industries. It was the strength that it got in September came from auto industry, food processing, and technology sectors, and they're lagging. Those are lagging by about 35% relative to where it was in the first 9 months of 2019, but at that 35% again is a significant improvement with where it has been dragging through August. Strong business is back. When you talk about individual industry, strong business is back in the job shops again. We saw a little bit of a lull in July and August, probably because some other industries really were large in both those months, had some really nice orders in different sectors. The the aerospace industry showed some life in September, up for about a third from where it was the previous month, and it was the September numbers were above the average for the last quarter, which is a good sign. Unfortunately, what we've heard about October and November suggests that the aerospace industry will fall off a bit from its September pace. And certainly, if you were participating in the AMT forecast program a couple weeks ago, you heard from Richard Abdelafia about the protracted return to 2019 levels that is expected in this industry. If you have, now, everyone has been asking me and some of the people at the AMT, well, all this free time in people's hands, haven't you seen a significant increase in capital spending by the recreational industries? And to date, I haven't been able to point to any one thing and say yes. A couple of anecdotal examples out of Minnesota with respect to winter sports, but nothing broad range. And certainly this month, for the first time, we saw a really significant increase in the recreational vehicle sector from where it's been over the past couple of months. They're spending more on manufacturing technology, and they certainly seem to be looking to make additional investments in manufacturing technology over the next couple of months as the quotation activity in this area has been very, very strong in the past 6 to 8 weeks. New equipment for the mold and die business has also been very strong. We'd heard about the need for additional molds that had typically come from overseas to help fill in spots in the supply chain for plastic products, for medical disposables, etc. But we hadn't seen it show up again in the capital spending numbers, but it is now beginning to show up in a big way. And mold and die business was actually a pretty big part of the overall spend in September's number, up where it's a historical percentage of all orders is by a significant amount. The month over month was, and the month over month number, the 3-month average number, the year over year numbers, all good in this industry as a customer. And it's regional. There is a part that you need to keep an eye on. It's got a regional component to it. In other words, like the firearm industry, which has had a great deal of investment in the course of the last 4 months, a good portion of that investment, though, has come from the South Central and Southeast. Likewise, there's a regional component to the recreational business and the mold and die business both, and you should take a look at your USMTO territory reports to kind of specifically see where your strength and opportunities are. The last industry I want to talk about was the appliance industry. Man, talk about basically that triple storm. You have a shipping shortage, not really a supply chain, but a shipping challenge of getting product from Asia to the United States in a timely fashion. That's depleted inventory significantly. You've got a replacement cycle. About every 12 to 14 years, there's a significant boost in appliance purchases related to a replacement cycle that started back in the 50s, and it's been pretty consistent. So we're running right in the middle of that. And then finally, housing starts are back up to where they were in 2019. The only month that's been larger over the course of last year for housing starts was January, which set a cyclical peak for housing starts that was looking like it was going to continue until COVID hit. We had a couple of bad months in March and April, but they began to pick up and are at above average numbers for 2019. So that means they're back already over the top of pre-COVID average rates. And as a result of that shipping problem, the replacement cycle being in full effect, and a strong set of new home starts, the appliance industry's capital spending has really started to pick up, and we expect, based upon what we've heard from quotations from the industry amongst our distribution and builders, has been fairly strong in from July into the present. It looks like it's strong both October and November as well. That's again based on the first 15 days of the month. So going back over that again, you got mold and die business, machine shops, a little bit of life in the aerospace industry, recreational vehicles, and the appliance and appliance components sectors. So until we get a chance to talk about what's going on just in the regular economy, which we'll do next Monday. Be safe, be busy.